Livy, Book 1, Chapter 4. But debabator, as it ought to be, ut opinior, as I think or as I suppose, fatus, this is the fates. But with the fates as it ought to be, as I think, origo, the origin, we have tante and urbis as genitives, the origin of such a city, we've got the enclitic qui here, meaning and maximi secundum diorum opes imperii principium. So the Principium is the beginning of the empire, and it was maximi, it was greatest. Secundum here probably means second, to the resources of the gods. So this was such a great city in the beginning of the empire, second only to the resources of the gods. So V compressa vestalis, we'll take vestalis as the nominative. So with force, the vestal was compressor, past passive. So she was raped or had sex with, Plautus also uses compressor. And when she had produced forth the partum, the birth, geminum, there were twins. Now see you, so this is either thus thinking, rata, either she was thinking this, or because honestiora, because it seemed more honest to have a deus auctor, the god, as the author culpa of the blame. So she either thought this, or because she thought it was better to say that God was behind this compressor, this rape. Martem, inserte stirpis patrem. So Martem's the patrem, nunc culpit. So she called Mars the father in this uncertain condition of the offspring of the stirpis. Sed nec di nec homines, but neither the gods nor men, either ipsem, we're going into the accusative, either herself or the stirpem, which are these twin children, a crudelitate regia vindicant. So we'll take vindicant here as to protect or to spare. So neither the gods nor men spared either her or the children from the cruelty regia. This is the kingdom, which is basically the king actually, with the regia. The sacerdos vincta. She was a female vestal virgin. She's a priestess. She was vincta. She was bound up in custodiam data and given into custody. The puros, the boys, in profluentem, present participle accusative, ubet, and ordered to be thrown or sent into the water, the profluenting, the rushing water. These are in apposition. Forte, so by chance, quadem divinitus. There was a certain divine intervention, you might say, or something divine. Super Rippus Tiberius, the Tiber River, Super Rippus, was above its banks, effusus, past passive, going with that. So it was spread out, overflowing its banks. We've got Lanibus stagnus, and in or with slow-moving stagnant pools. Neither adiri, to go up to, usquem, anywhere, ad justi cursum potrat. Okay, so this would be the guards who was getting rid of the children. They weren't able to approach anywhere to this regular course, amnus of the river. And they were able, although mergi, to be submerged in languida aqua, into this gentle moving water, the infants, here we go. So it was able, although it was slow moving, to put these infants into the water, dalbet spam, given the hope ferentibus that would carry them off, basically. Ita velut, so thus as if defuncti regis imperio, so defuncti, having performed the order of the king, in proxima alluvi, so in the closest washing up place of where the river was washing up to, ubi nunc ficus, where now ficus ruminalis is, where now a fig tree is, the ruminalis fig tree, ferunt, which bears the name of Romularum. So there's a fig tree there which is named after Romulus. The puros, the boys, exponent. They place them out there to the nearest place they could get close to the river. Vaste tum in his locus solitudine erant. So obviously vaste and solitudes go together. There was a vast wasteland. Sometimes it's a desert, but it would be a wasteland. Then in hic locus. In these places, because it's plural, was a vast wasteland. Tenet fama. Then the rumour holds when the fluentam alveum. Now, this is also a basket that they played dice in, I believe. But so the children must be in a basket, and they were floating. These are in that position. Quo, to where expositor erant puri, so where the boys were exposed, the rumour holds, tenuus in sicco aqua distuvisset. Okay, so basically in shallow waters they were left on the dry land, basically. And a lupam sitientem, that's present participle accusative. So it's a thirsty wolf ex montibus from the mountains, qui circa sunt, who around there to the purulum vagatum. This is the wailing of the boy. This is actually a singular of boy, but they could hear the wailing. This wolf could hear the wailing of the boy, and it's a female wolf. Flexissi cursum. She bent her course around to where with the wailing of the boy. Eam submissus infantibus. So she is sent down to the infants, adio, such an extent, mitam praebuisi memes. So she praebuissid, she offered down to these infants there, her memes, her breasts, in a gentle fashion, basically, softly, so that lingua, the tongue, lambentum, licking puros. So the boys were licking these teats with their tongue. Basically, they were sucking milk, probably. Magister regi pecoris, and the master of the royal flocks invenerant. He found them. I don't know if he saw the wolf there or from the wailing. Forstululo fuisse nomen. So they say that his name was Forstulus. Ab eo, from there, ad stabula. It's probably where you get the word stables from. It's probably to his hut. We've got dative, it looks like. Laurentia uxori educandos. It's a gerundive going with his wife. And datos. They were given to his wife, Laurentia educandos, for rearing. Sunt qui Laurentium vulgato corpore. This is these two are in ablative. So there were those who Laurentia, because she made her body public, probably by prostitution, or she was free with the body. A lupam, a she-wolf, amongst the pastors, amongst the shepherds, vocatem putent. So there are those who think, because she made her body loose to the public, that amongst the pastors they called her the she-wolf. Inde locum fabulae and miraculo datum. And then this place is given to the story and this miraculous thing happening. Ita genitai itaque. Itaque usually starts off. So and so accordingly, thus the twins were raised, educati. Cum primum, so that basically means as soon as adolavit 8 years, as soon as they came to the adolescent ages, nec instabilis, neither in the farm, we'll say, or nor to the flocks, let's say neuter, accusative, were they segnes, this is like, they weren't slow in doing their duties of the farm and the flocks, but they used to peragre, they used to wander around in the Saltus, which is usually a mountain pass, for this gerund, venando, for hunting. So we'll do the daily dictionary word, which is from early on. Vindico, to avenge, claim, punish normally, but also to protect, to spare, and to rescue. So hink, that's our adverb. So basically here, robore corporibus enemisque. So with the strength of their bodies and minds, sumpto, taken up. This is singular sumpto and robore. Now non-feros tantum, not only wild beasts, sometimes tantum's merely as well, so not merely beasts, subsistere, that they subsist on, or they hunted, not just wild beasts, but in latrones, that's accusative, so it's into or towards, but towards bandits, onastos. This is their accusative plural past passive. So they were burdened, but the latrones, the bandits were burdened with prada, with booty, impetus, they'd make an attack. Facere pastoribus rapta dividere. So the things that they had seized, rapta, they would divide with the pastors, with their fellow shepherds, and cum his crescenta indee. So from day to day, this is these people, these shepherds were increasing, or they're basically forming a gang by looks of things and robbing bandits. Grege, there was a flock of young men. Syria and Iolkos celebrate, and they'd celebrate in serious conditions and when they're joking as well.